Thank you. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome Curtis Mercer with the Canadian Home Builders Association, who is joining me for today's announcement. I would also like to thank the media and to everybody tuned in to the broadcast for joining us today. The announcement today promises to be a positive step toward helping Newfoundlanders and Labradorians get back to work, while also helping others achieve the goals for their homes and their futures. Under normal circumstances, I would have held this news conference in a home either being newly built or one under renovation. Let me start by saying where someone lives is not just a house, but it's a home. As Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, this place, the communities where we make our lives, the places and spaces that create the fabric of who we are as a people, so much of this is wrapped up in our sense of home. That is why COVID-19 has been particularly difficult. It has changed the way we interact with our friends, families, our neighbors, simultaneously giving us more time to spend at home, but at the same time taking away the sense of community. With everything that home means to us, today I am delighted to announce that the Department of Finance is allocating $30 million for a residential construction rebate. The residential construction rebate will be available for new home renovations as well as new home construction. This is how it works. For renovations on any home, it is up to the first $40,000 spent on a renovation that will be eligible for a 25% rebate. This means a rebate up to a maximum of $10,000 to the homeowner. For new home construction, a rebate of $10,000 for new home construction on homes valued up to $350,000 before HST. In all cases, the work has to be completed by a registered contractor. This means a contractor who is registered to pay HST and or registered with the Workers' Compensation Commission. They also have to have liability insurance. This rebate will apply to work contracted within a 60-day period from the start of Alert Level 3, which is Monday, June the 8th. And the work must be substantially completed by March 31st of 2021. Whether it's families planning to build a new home or retirees looking to renovate, this program will help build for our futures. As part of our economic recovery from COVID-19, this rebate helps strengthen the province's economic foundation by supporting homeowners and contractors. As we know, contractors make up an important part of the business community. As we start to recover from a particularly long winter, Snowmageddon, and the pandemic, this program will help families complete the work on their homes. We also know that the construction industry has been dramatically impacted by COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. This rebate is intended to stimulate the economy and help create employment through new home construction and renovations. This will help get carpenters, plumbers, electricians, roofers, painters, and other tradespeople busy as the economy builds and we recover from the pandemic. This will stimulate sales of supplies required to do the renovations or new home construction. This will also help our economy recover. Skilled tradespeople have been part of the heart of Newfoundland and Labrador's economy throughout our history. As we build for our future, we remain committed to advancing initiatives like the residential construction rebate that will help strengthen our economy and help stimulate employment. I am sure that home builders and the province's tradespeople will find this initiative will be a help to their industry. To speak to what this will mean to the industry, I'm delighted to ask Curtis Mercer, who's with us from the Canadian Home Builders Association, to speak to that.
Thank you, Minister. The Canadian Home Builders Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is the voice of the residential construction industry. Over the past number of years, we have experienced declines in housing starts and changes to the renovation market. This has further been reduced due to the impacts of the current COVID pandemic. Today's announcement will help homeowners commence renovation projects and new homes by qualified contractors. This program will also allow many contractors to restart work and rehire workers. We understand many people have been spending more time at home, and there are projects that may have been put off or have become more evident over the past number of months. Now may be the right time to address those items and update or upgrade your home. We would like to thank Minister Osborne and the provincial government for their support and recognition of our valuable industry.
Thank you. We are open to questions from the media.
Thank you, Minister. We're going to go ahead with those questions, and we have 4 reporters on the call. And up first, we have Elizabeth Whitten with allnewfoundlandlabrador.com. You can go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Minister, I was wondering if you could go into maybe a bit about the application process.
Certainly. So the application process will have details put out to the general public this week. The application process will be through the Canadian Home Builders Association. The applications will be available as of Monday, June the 8th. Applicants have to hire a contractor, not necessarily a member of the Canadian Home Builders Association, but a contractor who is registered. Once they hire an eligible contractor, the Canadian Home Builders Association will determine that the contractor is registered. They'll forward the application so that government can determine that the contractor is also registered with either workers' compensation or with a HST number, and determine that the work is an eligible renovation or new home construction. Once that happens and the work is substantially complete, the rebate will be provided to the homeowner.
Thank you. And I was wondering, how long has this initiative been in the works?
We've been in discussion with the Canadian Home Builders Association for 2 or 3 weeks. This had to go through the committee process within government and the cabinet process to be approved. Officials in the Department of Finance have been working on this over that 3 or 4 week period, so really over the past month.
Right. And Mr. Mercer, I was wondering if you could speak a bit about how Newfoundland and Labrador's need for residential construction and renovation compared to other provinces.
Well, our housing needs are one that's been changes in housing, I guess, over with our aging population and changes. There are seniors that want to downsize and new families that want new homes. So the number of new homes over the past number of years has declined. So there is a little bit of pent-up demand for new housing. So a program to allow for additional support to allow those people into those new homes will greatly impact those decisions, along with people that require renovations to their homes as well, or want to upgrade or update for future uses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the line, we have Ben Cleary with NTV News. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My first question is just kind of, Minister, could you summarize what this announcement is and what Newfoundlanders and Labradorians or who will be affected by this?
Thanks, Ben. So this announcement essentially will provide a 25% rebate on either home renovations of any value, but the first $40,000 in renovation will receive a 25% rebate, so up to a maximum of $10,000 to the homeowner or new home construction. So on any contract with a contractor for renovation or new home construction that is dated beyond Monday, June the 8th, will be eligible for application.
Perfect, thank you. And my next question is kind of just twofold, and that's for contractors. How tough is this year? How tough has 2020 been? And who in the industry is going to benefit from this announcement?
Well, I think I'll myself and Mr. Mercer can probably both speak to this, but I think if we look at new housing starts over the past 3 or 4 years, with the conclusion of mega projects in the province, new housing starts have been declining over the past 3 or 4 years. So this will hopefully help that. Without this program, our concern is that you'd see a further decline this year after the pandemic and Snowmageddon and the impact on individuals' income, the economy in general. For new home renovations, individuals may have been impacted as well. This will help some individuals that may have had an income impact to better be able to afford renovations as well. This is obviously very important as it'll help get people back to work. It'll put hammers in hands. It will see plumbers, electricians, roofers, and so on back to work. Assist them to get back to work and kickstart the economy. Building supply stores or window supply stores, paint shops, hopefully will benefit from this as well. This is one of the areas where you have the largest number of individuals impacted is renovations and construction because it impacts retailers as well as tradespeople. So I anticipate that this should have a very positive impact on the economy as well as on homeowners. Curtis?
Yeah, so as the Minister had noted, this year with the pandemic and Snowmageddon, a long winter for contractors, it has been a tough start to the year. Also, as the Minister had noted, new home starts have been down for the past number of years to record lows due to a number of circumstances. So any input or assistance will help to bring those numbers back up to acceptable levels where we can maintain our industry and maintain people working. On the renovation side, the pandemic has had a big impact as most renovations have been stalled or cancelled, one due to financial concerns of homeowners, or to the fact that the ability of people to work inside your home or do major renovations has been pretty much stalled due to safety concerns. So there has been pent-up demand, I guess, due to the fact that nothing has really been done for the past number of months on the renovation side, combined with the fact of people being in their homes for a number of months and recognizing changes that they would like to make and items that they may need repairs on after a long winter. We know the harsh winter has seen some people with siding or roofing issues due to the high winds and amount of snow. So there are people that are just waiting for the ability to conduct those renovations as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the line, we have Brian Medora with the OCM. Please go ahead.
Curtis, I'm wondering if you can give us an idea. If the workers, for example, decide to eat during the day, it sure as hell is going to cost a hell of a lot more money for food. What about building materials in these times? Have they changed at all? They've gone up, gone down, stayed the same? And conversely, with the salaries or the cost of the labor, would that have gone up, down, or stayed the same?
So I'll start with the cost of labor. The cost of labor really throughout these times has pretty much stayed the same. We have seen a lot of contractors that have laid off employees and made changes to their companies to try and survive throughout these past few months. Some of that was addressed by some federal government programs to assist with funding for salaries for employees. With regards to lumber and material prices, There are some materials that have increased and some have decreased, but I guess across the board you would see a very similar cost for an overall project. And I think that will probably continue based on the demand. We've seen an influx of some do-it-yourself type projects that people have been doing while conducting things at home, smaller type things that you can do on your own. But the large lumber scale prices, so, like as I had said, some have decreased and some have increased. So across the board, you can pretty much say that it's pretty stagnant. And
Minister Osborne, just give me an idea now. The money available, I think you said $30 million. Is that a first come, first served? Say if that runs out, say October, is that it kaput?
Well, the application time frame is 60 days. It is $30 million, which is a significant amount for both renovation and new home construction. But the time limit to apply for this is 60 days. You will have up to March 31st of next year to have the project substantially complete.
Okay, and then just back to Curtis, that means like you guys are going to be going around doing an awful lot of quotes in a very short time.
Yeah, and we expect that for our members, and it's our members and the contractors right across the province. 60 days to be able to complete these applications and do a lot of quotes. But I think it's going to be welcomed within the industry, the ability for our builders and contractors to be able to get out and see work that's needed to be done will be welcomed by those. It is going to be a lot of work, but that's something that our industry has been missing for the past number of years.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Next on the line we have Mark Lynn with CBC. Please go ahead.
Yes, Minister Osborne, I'd sort of like to broaden out the picture here. Can you describe Newfoundland and Labrador's financial situation right now?
Well, like any province in Canada or, most jurisdictions globally, the pandemic and especially the three oil-producing provinces in Canada have been hit particularly hard as a result of the pandemic and the spiraling oil prices. Delighted to see, I never thought I would say that I'm delighted to see oil nearing $40 a barrel, but we're glad to see it up from nearing 20 to nearing 40. So we're starting to see some recovery in oil prices. But every potential source of revenue for the province has been affected by both conditions, the pandemic and the oil prices, and expenses have gone up. So initiatives like this that help stimulate the economy, it's a short-term expense, but to help boost the economy and get things rolling again, which will help the province, the economy, individuals, and industry recover. These types of initiatives are important as we combat the pandemic from an economic standpoint.
And will you be running in the next election in the fall?
I don't know when the election is going to be, but yes, it is absolutely my intention to run again.
Mark, do you have a follow-up question?
Oh, sorry, I thought that was two.
You have two and a follow-up.
Okay, thank you. I thought that came later. As the follow-up to the issue regarding Newfoundland Labrador's financial picture, there are a lot of people suggesting that we're inevitably going to go bankrupt. What do you make of that?
No, I mean, this is, it's difficult. We've seen with the Atlantic Accord last year, the net debt of the province reduced by over $2 billion. The reality is, prior to the pandemic, we had come a long way from what the province's financial situation was in late 2015 throughout 2016. We still faced challenges, but we were certainly moving towards recovery. The pandemic and the spiraling of oil prices has created additional challenges for us, and whether it's put us back to the situation we saw in 2015-16 or not, we'll see based on how quickly the economy recovers and people are able to get back to work and revenues for the province rebound. If we're able to help stimulate the economy with initiatives like this today, we'll certainly recover that much quicker and hopefully start on the road to recovery again from a financial perspective for the province.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We have time for additional questions. We'll go through the list again with singular questions for each reporter, and we'll start with Elizabeth Whitten with allnewfoundlandlabrador.com. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Minister, I was wondering if you could say where the $30 million is coming from.
We've budgeted a $200 million contingency fund to combat COVID-19, so the $30 million will come from the contingency fund.
Thank you.
Next on the line, we have Ben Cleary with NTV. Please go ahead.
Minister, I was wondering if we could get your comments today following the announcement from Hibernia that they're going to commence layoffs.
That's a topic better answered by the Minister of Natural Resources. My thoughts on it, it's obviously disappointing. The oil industry in general has been hit particularly hard. We see the oil refinery that, for the first time really in 5 decades, they've had year over year of profit at the refinery. So that the new owners of the refinery have been operating it very well and turned things around. But even that was impacted, and we saw the announced sale of the refinery to Irving. So the oil industry has a significant benefit to the province in terms of revenue, royalties, and employment. I know myself and the Premier and the Minister of Natural Resources, we've all been speaking to our counterparts federally in terms of the impact on the oil industry and stressing to them the need for assistance, not only financial assistance, but just the, bureaucratic or policy incentives to allow the industry to operate a little more easily even would be a big help. So, we're dealing with it. It does have an impact on the province, but again, it's part of the reason initiatives like this today are so important. Whatever we can do to help stimulate the economy and get things moving again will certainly help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Just told that we have Peter Jackson on the line, so I'm going to put you on hold, Brian Madore, and we'll go to Peter Jackson with 2 questions and a follow-up. Please go ahead, Peter. Possibly don't have Peter on the line yet, so Brian, please go ahead. CM News. Brian, do you have another question? Going to go on to Mark Quinn with CBC. Please go ahead.
Can we expect a financial update from the province soon?
Yes, actually tomorrow. We have a financial update tomorrow, which will show us the year ending for 2019-20, and we'll be providing that as scheduled tomorrow.
Thank you, Minister. Do we have Peter Jackson on the line right now? Okay. I will go back to Elizabeth Whitten.
Brian, I thought I skipped out. I thought Peter was coming in.
Okay, but Brian, please go ahead. Sorry about that.
I had to just arrange for the 12 o'clock news there. To Curtis, perhaps as equally important as the rebate, if I'm thinking of doing a bathroom, kitchen reno kind of a project, is am I going to be safe? I've got people coming in giving quotes. I've got people coming in doing the work. just lay out the whole picture for me of how that's going to unfold as it relates to COVID-19. You're going to have 4 people in a vehicle arriving at my site. I'm a little bit nervous at that. Is it going to be 1 person per vehicle? Are they going to be tested? Do we know they have no symptoms, et cetera, et cetera?
So as of alert level 3, there will be an update on what is allowed. But all contractors will have to follow those rules and protocols put forward by the Chief Medical Officer and her office. Social distancing is still going to be required, and hand washing and cleanliness as per those orders. There are additional information going out to contractors and throughout our association and from government over the next number of days on protocols that they must have in place to enter into a homeowner's home. We will also be having questionnaires to ensure that the workers of the contractors have not been in contact with anybody who's been diagnosed with COVID or have any of those symptoms, along with those forms to be filled out by homeowners as well. So we will basically be following similar protocols to most other industries to make sure that the homeowners are kept safe and that the workers of the contractors are maintained safe.
Great, thanks. I got to go read the 12 o'clock. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. Checking to see if we have Peter Jackson with the telegram on the line. No, don't know Peter. Elizabeth Whitten with allnewfoundlandlabrador.com. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was wondering, Mr. Mercer, if you could speak on what you anticipate housing needs to be in the next 10 to 20 years.
The next 10 to 20 years is a long way out. I guess anticipation based on numbers and where we see the economy going, our anticipation is over the next 5 years we will have rebounded to an acceptable level of housing starts, and that would put us back to somewhere around the 2017 numbers. And we did have a peak in 2012 to 2013. That is not a sustainable number. Once we reach the 2017, that's pretty much around our housing starts for the number of housing starts that we need throughout the province in a given year. So estimating right now is it's going to take another couple of years to get back to that number, and then projections are still working forward beyond that. Our numbers, we don't put projections forward into 10, 20 years. We're more looking at the 2 to 3 to 5 years, and based on the numbers we've seen in the past number of years, our statistics are really looking at when are we going to rebound to acceptable levels to maintain our contractors and livelihoods of those contractors, and to maintain the number of housing that is required for homeowners in Newfoundland.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ben Clearly with NTV. Do you have any further questions?
That's it for me, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Back to you, Mark Quinn. Do you have any further questions?
Yes, Mr. Mercer, you just mentioned the 2017 numbers for housing starts. Do you know what that number is for 2017 that you're expecting to be back to in the next 5 years?
2017 numbers were in the vicinity of around 1,000 housing starts per year.
And if I could follow up, how many homes, do you expect to be renovated or built with $30 million in the stimulus?
Well, if you do the quick math at $10,000 maximum per project, that's roughly 3,000 projects.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Elizabeth, do you have any further questions?
Just one more. I was wondering, where in the province do you see the need for these projects to go out to?
I think it's throughout the province. This program is open to every individual from every community throughout Newfoundland and Labrador, and I think we'll see an uptake from across the province.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Mark with CBC, do you have anything further?
I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, folks. That is the time we have for questions today. If you come up with anything further, please feel free to forward it to myself or Mark Budgell. And thank you for participating in today's availability. Take care.